Hey guys, this is Marilyn. Today's video, we are going to make an oversized Frosty the Snowman. So here are some images that I posted to the Cricut Design Space Facebook, hosted by Melody Lane. And I made an oversized Frosty for a donation drive box that we have at work. This label here, this is actually a sticker, was printed on the what is this called, Smart Paper Sticker cardstock from Cricut. Cricut recently had a sale for 40 to 50% off, so I picked up a couple things. And as you can see, Frosty the Snowman there, the background and the front. The background is also pieced together. However, the seams for the background and the seams for the front are in different spots, so you can have a nice sturdy thing. So this is just images of Frosty being put together as time progressed. However, I thought I posted a video of the size of Frosty, but it doesn't look like I did. I was half asleep when I actually posted it. So let me find the one with the ruler. Here he is. So as you can see, Frosty he's about 20 inches high and he's 19 inches wide. The reason why I made him that large was because I measured the donation box that we have at work for the food drive, and from the inside of the back of the box, the inside of the box was actually about 20 inches. So I figured 19 would be a good length to have, or width, I should say. And so he'll be on the back of the inside of the box, so donations are being made in front of Frosty. So this I made for work. So I'm going to show you how to create this oversized Frosty. I'm going to do it on the computer. This video, just so you know, up front, this video may be a little long. It's a tutorial. It's essentially teaching you how to do something. So yes, it might be a little long. If this is too long for you, please fast forward or skip the video. Maybe perhaps you can find another video on another channel that's a little shorter that suits you the best. So I'm going to go ahead and connect my microphone to my computer and cast the video in Design Space. But just so you also know, the items that I used for putting Frosty together is this craft board sampler. Now, it's not actually like a board. It is just a heavier cardstock. This is the same material that I use to cut out masks. My favorite Cricut mask. This is the same cardstock. All right. So this is a craft board. It's called craft board, but it's actually just a heavy cardstock. And so I had to play around with the settings a little bit on my Cricut Explore 3. So there might be two parts to this video, but I'm going to focus on actually putting the file together, how to make it oversized, and how to split everything apart, and how to prepare everything for cutting. So we're in Design Space right now, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to hit Insert Images. Now, if I went home, you'll see that I already have the file. However, we're going to do this from the very, very beginning. You can see Frosty right over here, so we're going to go ahead and start a new project. We're going to select Images, and now we're going to do a search for Frosty. Now, I do have access. However, I had to pay $1.99 for Frosty the Snowman. So let's go ahead and do a search for Frosty. I suppose I could do this with another image since I already cut Frosty. So they're really, really cute. This one, obviously, this one you would do with vinyl. You can tell that these all have layers. This is the Frosty that I used. Let's see. Oh, this one is so cute. You know, why does Frosty have a pipe? I used to wonder that. All right, so this one, do I want to do a different one? We're going to go ahead and select, well, since I already purchased this, we're just going to go ahead and work with the one that I've already purchased. All right, So you're going to keep all your layers together to start out with. So depending on how big you want your Frosty the Snowman is going to be dependent on removing all your layers. So let's go ahead and say we want Frosty to be 20 inches wide. And then so of course we're going to keep it locked. So now his height is actually 21.58. Okay, 21 inches and 58. All right, so the first thing you want to do is you want to go ahead and ungroup all your items. Now, for this piece here, that by itself is a small piece. It's not even an inch big. So we're going to go ahead and hide that. Here's the little pink flowers. I almost lost a piece. This is 2 inches wide, but once you cut it, it's going to be all little pieces. So we're going to go ahead and hide that. Then we're going to go ahead and hide the flower, the background. That's 2.173 inches wide by 1.644. So that's kind of small as well. Then you have your, oopsies, we have this here. Now, when you cut the scarf and the nose, make sure to, I could not detach these. So if we go down here, there is no option to detach. So we'll go over that a little later when we get ready to cut. So essentially you're going to slice the nose off so you can kind of conserve paper, and then you can bring the nose all the way down here when you're cutting it or insert it close to the scarf. We're going to hide that. We're going to go ahead and hide the pipe. So you know what? Let's see how big the scarf is. So the scarf is, let's move the pipe back over here. So this image shows that it's 8.785 inches wide by 12.58. That's only because you have this large gap in between the nose and the scarf. But again, you'll want to slice that and remove your remnants and keep the red nose, and then just bring it closer to your scarf when you're cutting it, so then you don't have to use that much space here. So we're going to go ahead and hide that. We got the pipe. The pipe is 3.5 inches by 2.126. So we're going to go ahead and hide that. We're going to take this background scarf. This one is 9 inches by 10 inches. That'll fit on a 12 by 12 easily. So we're going to go ahead and hide that. And so now we have this section here. You don't have to slice this apart to cut it out. You could use an 8.5 by 11 sheet of black cardstock for that. But if you want to bring in everything, if you only have a half a sheet of black cardstock available, just slice this in half and then kind of make it fit so it cuts everything out close together. So for some reason, it doesn't give me the option to ungroup this, as you can see up here. So that's why I was saying that you have to slice the nose away from the scarf. So we're going to go ahead and hide that. Now, we have 2 layers. You have the big front Frosty, and then you have the big gray piece in the background. And again, this is 20 inches wide by 21.576 inches. All right, so I'm going to start with, let's hide, and as you can see, you get your little warning signs. They're too big to put on the mat, right? So that's why we're doing this project. All right, so we're going to go ahead and hide the front of Frosty. So now you don't want to resize anything at this point because everything is made to go on a snow Frosty, which is 20-something inches large, okay? Now your background is going to be a little bigger than the foreground, which is Frosty. So as you can see, this Frosty right here, because it does originally have an offset of some sort, right? It's got the background. So Frosty in the front is 19.525 by 17.5. But then when we click on the background, as you can see, it's going to get a little bigger because it is already an offset. So we're going to hide the white part of Frosty. And then we're going to go ahead and work with this one here, which is the background. So now I'm going to go ahead and make my canvas a lot smaller. We could do 50%. You know what? I'm going to make it. Now, don't forget, you don't want to move your arrow here. Don't do that. I wish I could make this. Is there a way to manually? No, there's not. I'm going to work with 50% on my screen here. All right. So the first thing you want to do is, let's work all the way to the top, all the way to the left. We can go ahead and position it at 0. I like working off the top left corner. That's just me. It just helps me keep things a little organized. All right, so we have Frosty the Snowman here. He's still 20 inches. So the first thing you want to do is you want to insert a shape, and we're going to work with the square because the square is the best to do a project like this. And you can make the square however big you'd like. Now, if I move him all the way over to this way, we're at 21 inches high, and then 20 inches wide. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to do about, is he moved all the way to the left? He is. All right, so I'm going to make a square that is about, let's see, we got, let's slice him in half first, okay? So we're going to unlock this, and then we're just going to bring it down, and we're going to slice him in half. So we're going to do this at 10 inches, only because we already know it's 20 inches. We're just going to do it 10 even, call it a day, all right? And so his little bottom and his foot is covered as well, right? So we're going to go ahead and hit slice. We're going to highlight both of these. This is just an easier way to organize it. So I'm going to go ahead and hit slice. So now as you can see, his body is in 2 parts. We want to throw away the tool that we're using to cut him, which is all these parts. And then these are the 2 parts that we want to keep. Okay? I'm going to leave it that way. Well, you can't slice multiple pieces, so we do have to take it apart. So now he is, let's see, he is still 21.5 inches approximately high. So we're going to put in another shape, another box, okay? And so we're going to keep it at, now at this point it doesn't matter how wide it is because you're going to just cut his body in half towards the center of the torso. So let's see, we have 21 inches. So it's a little more than 21 inches. So that's about 10.5 inches. So let's see, high, this box here, we'll make it a little smaller. Let me unlock it, just make it wider, just for my sanity. And then the height we're gonna do, we'll leave it at 11.5. It doesn't matter, one size is gonna be a little bigger than the other, but this will still, oh, you know what, let's do 11, because you know these Cricut mats. All right, so we're gonna do this by 11 high, and the reason why I'm only measuring it this way is because we're cutting the torso in half. The width we already know is 10 inches wide. So we're gonna highlight both of these pieces, and then we're going to hit slice again. All right, so when you go up here, this is the box that we added on there. This is the background of the box. We don't need that. And now you have Frosty in 2 pieces here. This at the very top of his body. And we're going to go ahead and highlight those 2. And we're going to hit slice. We don't need that. We don't need this. And we don't need this. And this is the great background that we were working with, right? So when we're putting him together, this is what you want to do, right? Trust me, when we cut this, it's going to be perfect, all right? This little bottom here is not lined up exactly, but that's how you slice it. And then when you just put it together, you just have to line everything up, and it's going to work out just fine. Okay, so that's how you do that portion. So as you can see, it is, let's zoom in a little closer. You can see right here that it's nice and even there. And it's even down here on the center of his bottom portion. Okay, so that's what you need to do to make it oversized. And you never want to use the little arrows to resize your image once you've made the full image the size that you want, because then you're going to distort your image. So now we have Frosty's background in 4 different locations, right? We have them in 4 pieces. I'm going to open this one up. There we go. All right. So now he's here, right? And so what I did is I kind of checked to see where my seams were at. So you don't have to have it perfect when you're doing this. Wrong body. You kind of want to see where you put your seams for the background, because you don't want to put your seams in the same spot. So his seams are right down the center, and he's cut right there above his little armpits. So now I want to cut this part of his body in a different location, because we don't want the seams in the exact same spot, because you want this to be sturdy and you don't want the seams flopping all over in the same spot. So all right, so what I'm going to do with this one, I think when I slice him, I'm going to slice him a little more to the left side of his body, because I don't want to interfere where the pipe goes. So we're going to slice him down all the way on the left side of his body in hopes that this fits on the mat still. And then we sliced his bottom half right above the armpits. So now we're going to go under the armpits. Okay, so let's go ahead and hide all the background pieces. Okay, and then I'm going to make my screen back to 50%. And then we're going to go ahead and bring in some boxes or squares. They're not boxes, obviously. All right. So now, because he's 17 inches, 17 and a half and 19 and a half. So my goal is not to cut him in multiple, like, I don't want to cut, you don't want to cut here where the hand is at, where these little cutouts are. You don't want to interfere with that stuff. You want to get a nice solid line. Let's see. He's 19 inches. Oh, but wait a minute. If I slice him this way, you can still do it. If you have a longer mat, you can definitely use your longer mat. I used a 12 by 12 inch mat to cut this entire thing. Let's go ahead and slice it. We're going to slice his body in half here. All right. So now this right here is 11 inches wide by 17 and a half. So that's not too bad. So when we cut him in half, he'll still be able to fit on a mat. Okay. This one is only 8.3 inches wide. If you wanted to cut this entire piece on a 12 inch by 24 inch mat, you could do that. So if you're using the Cricut 12 by 24 cardstock, which is a little lighter than the craft board, you can certainly cut this on a 12 by 24 inch mat, and then you have less cuts. If you don't have large gray paper or large white sheets like I don't, this is why I cut Frosty in 4 pieces for the background and the front. So I'm going to continue doing what I did with the first Frosty. But again, if you have a 12 inch by 24 inch mat and you have the correct size paper and cardstock that you personally want to use, you can certainly cut this piece on a 12 inch by 24. I want to use craft board, and I only have 12 by 12 inches, so that's why I have to cut him in half. So let's go ahead and insert my squares, duplicate. I forgot to duplicate it last time. All right, so we're just going to cut his low body in half. And so now this piece is 11 by 8, so I can still fit this on a 12 by 12 inch mat. This one here is 11.2. This one might give me a little challenge, but I think he'll be okay because, as you know, like, we're really close to that 11.5 mark for cutting out Frosty the Snowman. All right, so that's pretty much how you slice him in half. So it looks like my video is about 25 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and end this video portion here. And then I'm going to do a part 2 video, so it's not as long, and we're going to go ahead and cut him in the next video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the part 2 video.